Hey, welcome. You ever feel like you're learning two totally different languages? You've got the English from your textbooks, the one with perfect grammar and all these strict rules. And then there's the English you actually hear out in the world, in movies, in songs, in real conversations. Well, that's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to bridge that gap and help you turn what you know into confident, natural conversation. Yeah, this is a super common feeling, right? You've put in all the work, you know your stuff, but then the moment comes to actually speak to someone, and it just feels clunky or awkward. If that's you, trust me, you are not alone. And the solution isn't about memorizing more rules. It's about figuring out which ones it's okay to forget. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at what I call the two Englishes. Then we'll dive into the fun part, the rules you can actually break. After that, I'll give you a practical conversation toolkit, and we'll wrap it all up with what is maybe the most important part, getting the right mindset.
So where does that awkward feeling even come from?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually.
It's a clash between the formal classroom English we're taught and the fast, flexible English that people use every single day.
So let's break this down. Classroom English is all about being perfect. It's designed so you can pass a test. But real-world English, it's all about speed and connection. It's way more casual, it's full of contractions, and honestly, it's more about sounding natural than being 100% grammatically correct. Okay, so this is going to sound a little crazy, but to really sound fluent, you have to kind of unlearn some stuff. You need to give yourself permission to break some of those very rules you worked so hard to memorize. It's a huge step towards sounding less like a textbook and more like a real person. Okay, let's start with a classic one. Never end a sentence with a preposition. I'm sure you've heard that, but just listen to this. In which car do you want to go? It sounds so formal, almost robotic, right? Now compare that to which car do you want to go in? That is how people actually talk. There's this great little joke that totally nails this point. Trying so hard to follow these old, stuffy rules can make you sound really unnatural, maybe even a little pretentious. Just asking, "Where are you from?" is completely fine. It's how everybody says it. And here's another one you can pretty much just let go of. The whole who versus whom thing. Seriously, whom has almost disappeared from spoken English. If you answer the phone, you say, "Who's this?" You'd never say, "To whom am I speaking?" In a real conversation, who is almost always your best bet. Oh, and this is a fantastic one you'll hear all the time. The textbook says because problems is plural, you have to say there are a lot of problems. But in reality, people almost always say there's a lot of problems. Why? Because the contraction theirs is just faster and easier to say, so it ends up being used for everything. All right, so we've officially broken some rules. Now let's build something new. We're going to stock your toolkit with some really useful, natural-sounding phrases that you can start using, today. First up, starting a conversation. How are you is fine, but it usually just gets, fine, thanks. But questions like, how's your day going? Or what have you been up to lately? They're different. See the difference? These are real invitations to talk, to share a little story, not just give a one-word answer. And it's the exact same idea when you're making plans. The whole vibe should be relaxed and low pressure. Saying something like, "Want to grab lunch?" or "You doing anything fun this weekend?" is super casual and direct. It just takes away all the formality and makes it really easy for someone to say yes. Okay, so having these phrases in your back pocket is awesome, but it's only half the story. The absolute biggest key to being a fluent, confident speaker, it's not about your vocabulary. It's all about what's going on in your head. All right, let's just be honest here for a second. This is the big one. This right here is the biggest killer of fluency. It's that fear of messing up. If you wait until you're perfect to start speaking, guess what? You'll never start. That fear of saying the wrong thing is what stops us from saying anything at all. So how do we actually get past that fear? Well, here's a super simple 3-step plan. First, just start small and safe. Talk to yourself. Describe what's in the room around you. Second, when you learn a new word or phrase, write it down. It really helps it stick. And then the last step, just aim for one conversation a week. It doesn't have to be long. The goal is just to build a habit. Look, if there is one single thing I want you to remember from all of this, it's this quote right here. The goal of using language isn't to get a perfect score. It's to connect with another person. They're not grading you. They're not counting your mistakes. They just want to understand you. If you focus on connecting, the fluency, it'll come. So now you've got the tools, you've got the mindset. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? Maybe it's just asking a coworker, how's your day going? Or maybe you'll call a friend to make plans. The perfect time to start isn't tomorrow, it's right now. You've got this.